I'd like to welcome everyone to the Madison Fire District's regular meeting, July 21st, 2020, at 7:01 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Gauntner.
Here.
Mr. Lee. Mr. Vest.
Here.
Mr. Wayman.
Here.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Turn this plumber off. Are you off?
Oh, he's here.
That's true. Mr. G is here.
Yeah? Yes, you do, I guess, huh? He's got a blue folder, too.
Okay, would everyone please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. May I have a motion for the approval of minutes for June 16th, 2021,
You have that
regular
motion?
session?
You have that motion, Mr. Chairman?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Adams.
Abstain.
Mr. Anderson.
Abstain.
Mr. Gauntner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Vest.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the bills and payroll for June 2021? Bills, $81,056.14. Payroll, $164,135.44, for a total of $245,191.58. Is there a motion?
Yes. Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gauntner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Vest.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Okay, we come to June 2021 financial report. Ms. Clapp?
Okay, I'm reading from the fund summary report. We started June with our balance of $5,463,614.97. Our month-to-date revenue was $52,764.04. Our year-to-date revenue is $2,487,717.32. Our month-to-date expenditures is, again, $245,191.58. Our year-to-date expenditures is $1,441,218.89, and we started July with $5,271,187.43.
Any questions for Ms. Clapp? Mr. Gardner?
No, I have none. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I was just trying to figure out whether our month-to-date expenditures seemed higher than normal, but maybe not. Are they, Joanne? Okay.
No, our wages was $164,000.
Okay.
Anybody else for Ms. Clapp? Okay.
So,
Anything
so
else?
so the board knows, we've got our property tax advance today of $500,000 from the county. And then if the board wishes, at the next meeting or the following meeting, when we get the actual total other balance, would you like me to have a resolution drawn up to transfer the money to Star Ohio so we get more interest? If that's gonna be about $1 million.
What's the current interest rate with Star Ohio?
I'll look it up and get it to you.
Okay.
I can look that up and get that up to you. Next item is, in reference to, when you're looking at the budget, I still am continuing this third quarter, still taking it out of the EMS side, and then we'll move back forth to the fire side. And then one other item is actually on Tuesday, and it's even open to the board members and anybody else, the state auditors is offering a special fire district training. It's got about grants, hiring, ethics, fire district audits, pension, budget forecasting, and the public employee risk reduction program for fire districts. So I'll be attending that one. It's all free and it's via Zoom on there.
Can you send me an email or text on that so I have that for next Tuesday? Appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And then one last thing was we need to schedule our yearly records retention meeting. sometime. And that's all I have.
Any question for Ms. Clark?
I don't have any.
Okay. Move on to open public portion, and anybody in?
I don't think we have anybody.
Don't see any public out
Nope.
there.
Unless, public, nope, no public portion. Move to legal counsel, Ms. Dame.
I don't have anything to report. If any board members need anything from me, I'd be more than happy to be of service.
Anybody have anything from Ms. Dame?
No, sir.
Okay. Move on to old business, Station 3 driveway. Chief, you want to elaborate on that one? Or?
Hot Eyes came in, they did, the first. Hot Eyes did the first section about a month and a half ago. And, we waited about 2 weeks for it to cure. We were gonna try to have the second set done by the 4th of July, but I don't know if anybody's noticed or not, but it's been wet.
Oh, yeah.
And 7 inches since July 1st kind of put it off. So he poured that, I believe it would be a week ago Thursday. It's going to be probably another 3 to 6 days, and then he's got to come in and cold patch and then finish dusting it up. But the first half went great. They did a nice job. I'm thrilled to death. I think everybody's vehicle's a little happier.
Yeah.
So we did pay him the first half of his contract because he got delayed and had contractors to pay. So that is one of the things that would have been in last month's bills that you saw was the first half of his contract. Other than that, no, we're happy.
Okay. Station 2, a bathroom renovation dorm addition.
I'm not sure how we got so far delayed, but we did hear back from Andrew at CT Consultants. And I believe after talking to Mr. Gautner, I think that they told us the plans would be here Friday, this upcoming Friday.
Yes, I got confused when we first started talking, but it was on a Friday. You and I talked, and I sent him an email, and he responded back saying, you will have them 2 weeks from today. He said they're a subcontractor. They had to sub out the mechanicals to somebody else. I guess they're really busy, but he said that they would have those to us 2 weeks from that date, which should, because I responded back and said, well, that's going to be after our regular meeting, but if we have to call a special meeting to go out for bid, we can do it. So we better have those drawings in hand by Friday this week. That's
I'll be happy to let both you and Mr. Anderson know, because somebody's probably going to have to go up the tree.
Right. Yep. And as soon as you do, then we'll get it and go call in a special meeting.
Yeah, if I get them, I'll forward it to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate
And
it.
hopefully they're the way we need them too. And we don't have to go back for any revision. That's the other issue. So I'm hoping they're gonna be, I think we're pretty happy with the floor plan. So if they're just doing the mechanicals are the mechanicals, you know, the heating, the electrical, that kind of thing. But the architectural side of it looked pretty good a couple months ago when we saw them.
Okay, anything else for old business?
Sure, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know, there was some question at some point in time about the front of the station, the drive area and sewers and county and whatever.
So we did call Lake County Utilities and went back and forth with them quite a bit. They ended up sending a representative out. The township allowed them to use an employee of the township road department. They went down and snaked it. They were absolutely 100% determined that that was our drainage problem and our issue. We did find out that the sewer drain, or the storm sewer, is only 18 inches underground. There's no crack in it, but the best part is we did find out the very last time, after like 4 hours of snaking it, the last time they snaked it, that snake went right down past our driveway and probably 25 or 30 feet into the north property, which just validated that that's not our storm, that's theirs. And since then, they've been out to repair the crock. So
Good.
we have no damage to be concerned about. We now know that's their problem, and they've begun to address some of that issue.
Okay, super.
Any other old business?
Yeah, on the building, on the same note, the budget that we have set for that structure to do the work is what?
we have money that we put aside every year for buildings. I will tell you that for the last several years, I know the board elected not to capitalize that. So essentially, that's, unless I'm wrong, Joanne, we have unencumbered funds that we would just have to reappropriate to make the payment for the building. And I'll refer back to Joanne.
Right, that's what we.
Okay,
that's what we said.
that's nice, so.
How much?
How much? Yeah, exactly. The question was, how much?
How much,
How much money we have appropriated,
Oh,
set
unappropriated?
aside, unappropriated? You know, I mean, are we going to the general fund? Is that what you're saying? For
No.
this, and this is an unfettered, budget? For this addition or for this project? Where are we at?
So right now, I will tell you that it looks like we have
I have,
an unencumbered fund balance of $4,400,000.
Okay, all right.
So
Yeah.
I can also tell you, I would have to go back and look at each budget, but we've been putting $25,000 or $30,000 into buildings that was not capitalized, which means that's some of that unencumbered fund. So I would have to go back to, I believe 2015 or 16 is when we began to do that under Chief Letts. I'd have to go through and look. Because it was not capitalized, it's not isolated, it's part of that balance.
So if we do the math, is it about 35,000 a year?
I would guess that
okay.
I would guess that there's probably 200, in the neighborhood of $200,000 that we have probably put in the budget that nothing was ever done with, so it was left as unencumbered funds.
That's what I was looking for.
And I'm not, you know, as long as we're in the $300,000 range, I don't think we have any problems to worry about the funding side of it.
Agreed.
If it's more than that, I think there's a whole bunch of other things to talk about.
Correct. But we don't have any idea what they're gonna come back with either.
Right.
Okay. Very good.
The only good part is wood prices are coming down now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Now.
To what? The stratosphere?
Yeah, $40 a sheet for OSB, right.
Okay, very good. It just, we're getting these proposals, and I'd just like to know what we're working with. And when we have this proposal, and they come back and give us a price, because that's what they're gonna go out to bid for, not to be over. So what do we have to spend? And whether or not we're going to do this from a standpoint of paying for it outright or financing, because money is very cheap right now. And that's not the only thing that building needs. Okay?
Well, I think that's options. I think the options are when the number comes back.
Right.
Right. That's what's gonna boil down to. What's the architect's estimate and how much do we have sitting aside? And then I don't think, Mark, we can analyze that till we see what that number's gonna be.
Agreed, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then, yeah, and Matt, you're right, it might be better to finance them. If the number gets higher than we wanna tackle, at the price of borrowing money today, it'd be the way to go.
It's nothing,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Especially going through public works that we can do and things we can do that way.
Yep.
We're still hoping that there may be money coming in from other sources.
Yeah.
We keep hoping. Thank you.
Our rich uncle in Painesville.
Okay, anything else on that? All right, move into new business. Any new business? All right, move on to the chief's report. Chief Baker.
I forwarded the chief's report. I apologize, I'm not sure why it came out the way it did, that it came out, printed out 4 times or something in that one document, but for the month, we have some anniversaries. One of the anniversaries is somebody sitting in the room. Captain Sopko, I believe, just finished 34 years. It's amazing for a young 40-year-old man. Firefighter Sample completed 21 years, and Steve Silvestro, who is one of our new full-time hires, just completed his first year. Joanne went through the budget. Actually, there's no real concerns. If you look from a line item perspective, We're at about 70% of the budgeted overtime for the year, but we're in about 30% of the total staffing. So that overtime really is coming from maintaining staffing to minimum. The nice part is when we have to pay that overtime, we're also not paying 2 additional people to be here. So it kind of balances out if you look at the bottom of the spreadsheet that I provide. EMS is right on budget. We met with MediCount. Right now, Madison has the highest collection rate per call in Lake County. I think that says a lot for the staff because that really comes down to documentation and how they're able to bill. That puts us above Willoughby and Kirtland and some of those other communities that use that service. Staffing's still an issue. We just hired 2 more young part-time folks. We're trying to get them through orientation to try to get them in to help us with the staffing. Call volume was up. In April, we were up 30% compared to the previous 3 years. April, May, we were up 25% over the previous 3 years. June, we were up 16%. So our call volume continues to increase. At the rate we're going, we're definitely going to set some records. Fire inspections are ongoing. Captain Sopka, I don't know if you got anything to add? No, sir. Yep, vehicles, PM's been done. We did have, at one time, 2 squads were out with the air conditioning. Of course, you always find that out when it's 90. And we weren't the only ones, and that was hard to get those in and get them serviced, but those are done. We canceled the officers' meeting because of the 4th of July. And I just wanted to recognize some, Lieutenant Fallhammer, I'm not sure if the board recalls, but we put him through the Ohio Fire Executive Program. It's a 3-year program. And really the goal is to create succession and prepare people for leadership in the future. He is now about halfway done with that. So he's working on a project. We are working on a project, and one of the goals is to do something to make us better. So we'll have Brian at a meeting at some point where he can come and talk about that. Other than that, I don't know if anybody has questions. The budget looks pretty solid. The run volume's consistent and growing. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Just a comment, Chief. This past weekend, you guys had to be chasing your tails because I heard nothing but sirens all day long. And I think it was both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday for sure. It was nuts.
It's been real busy, and Captain Sopko and his crew, we're going to start to call the Grand River Bandits because they're becoming professionals at plucking kayakers from out of town, out of the Grand River. It's now 2 or 3 different calls. Yeah. All the people that have been pulled from the river are not from here. Pennsylvania, Wadsworth, there's people that come up that aren't familiar, and I don't know if you've seen the Grand River right now, but I wouldn't put a canoe on it.
No, especially this past weekend. It was roaring.
Yeah. Captain Sopko is very familiar with that. Now, I will tell you that one of the things that we're going to bring forward at the next meeting, the drone thing is going to come front and center. We're probably going to have a proposal that we'd like the board to approve. We used drones to find a little girl that was lost out at the old Thunder Hill. We've used drones multiple times now on the river. We've had them come out on the lake. It's probably, we kind of put that on the shelf because of COVID. So we're going to work on that class with the young lady to prep people to do the licensing exam. And then it's probably time for us to move in that direction. The other thing that we're going to bring to the board at the next meeting is it's time for us to replace our 20-some-year-old Kawasaki Mule that has served us pretty well. It's an old carbureted guy that we've worked on and put Band-Aids on. And I think we're going to try to look at something that gives us a little more multi-purpose use because, again, that's another tool that's when you're plucking people from different places, it's nice to have that resource. So just so you're aware, we're probably going to come and ask to spend some funding, and some of that's due to reallocating kind of that vehicle replacement and where we're spending those dollars. But any other questions, I'd be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
Jet ski training, and that you were able to coordinate with North Perry at all?
We are working to coordinate with Perry right now, but our problem right now is on days when there's 12 and 15 calls a day. we just haven't, our crews have been out, I think all of our shifts have been out at least once. Yeah, that was our monthly drill. We've talked to Chief McDonald, and that's one of the things that we're gonna try to do is like some joint training with Perry. But even Perry's been busy. Like, everybody's busy. And the challenge for us is with the staffing, having the staffing and the call volume, it's difficult. And I'm waiting to kind of hear back from Chief McDonald. We may end up doing some off-shift stuff so that guys can just be here and committed. Because on shift, I know when we did our training, we had 2 people in the water and on the jet ski and 2 people in the water to help make sure the jet ski was stable when we were, and then you get a call and there's 2 people that are dry. So it's challenging, but we're working on it, and it's been out a lot. It's gotten quite a bit of use.
No, that's why I was, the North Perry thing, you don't need 2 guys in the water to be able to put something in the water.
No,
You
no,
just
you're
pack
right.
it in there
And,
you-
and we have key cards for them, so
You
we're,
already
yeah.
got the key cards?
Key cards are there. It's just a matter of us being able to get to Perry and Perry being able to be there to do some joint training.
Okay, but you can go yourselves also, correct?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, the lake, interesting, the lake's been flat as can be. Like, we've had some awesome, was it flat when you were out? But the lake hasn't been horrible this year for us when we've trained. But we do have to get familiar with that too.
So the water rescues that we've done, has the jet ski been used in any of those, or no?
Can't get 'em in.
No, because it's,
not, okay, it's not been used yet.
we keep going to the river.
Yeah, you can't get them in anywhere.
Yeah, and we might, I mean, that may be something that we have to look at investing in a John boat or, but that river, there's so many challenges logistically that really we need to figure out what we have. And by the time we figure out what's going on, we usually have additional resources coming from other communities because that is a manpower, I don't know, how many people do you think?
Well, our first river rescue at night, the river was too shallow to use any
Yeah.
aircraft.
Right.
This one the other day,
It
you
was,
could use it, but you couldn't use a jet ski, it had to be John boats or, rigid bottom inflatables, so there were 2 of those on the water.
and one of those ran out of gas and required,
More gas.
yeah. They were up a river without gas.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Nice. No, it wasn't, it continued.
But we're continuing to work to get people experience on those.
Okay, thank you.
So you think that's gonna be that sounds like an issue with this jet ski in the river then, or, I mean, I was kinda thinking.
I would say probably
I was thinking this
90%
would
of the
help.
time you would be able to use a jet ski.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct, no.
It's a flat, we,
You'd probably wreck it down there.
Me
neither.
Stuff that's underneath the water.
Exactly. You don't know
there are
what's
some big things that come down that river, like the trees that you see in the lake.
in- Yes.
Well, I see them every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a flat bottom John boat is probably, because you can walk it and drag it if you have to. There are so many different hazard areas and things you have to address, and this year it seems to be rivers.
Well, and the one we had at night was taking the mule all the way down to the river from the corner of Bates and
Yeah.
River Road, all the way down to the riverbed and walking them out. They didn't want to go anywhere because it was dark.
Okay.
Our guys had to go retrieve them.
So we're good on boats though, huh?
Our mutual aid is pretty good on boats. I think we could probably look at maybe a John boat at some point, something else.
So Perry has a rigid bottom inflatable, Painesville City has the inflatable and the hard bottom. Geneva has a John boat, and Fairport, those are all departments that come to us, has a John boat
Yeah.
and a jet ski. So they bring whatever depending on where we're going.
And again, when we show up with 2 or 3 people, because that's what we have on, I mean, the logistic piece takes a little bit just to figure out, do I have somebody, where do I have them, what resources do I need? And about the time, I mean, seems like about the time you're ready to figure out your plan, sometimes you have too many boats, and that's okay.
Right. Good. Any other questions for the chief? Okay, we'll move on to the Closing public portion. Have nobody. Closing board comments. Anybody?
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
I have the answer to your interest rate for Star Ohio. The interest rate today is 0.07%.
That was Mr. Gardner.
Mr. Knight.
So that'll get us about $6.35.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, closing board comments, anybody? Okay, may I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel compensation? Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Vest,
Yes.
Mr. Wayman,
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner.
Yes.
Time is 7:27.
Sure is.
Okay. Can we go in the big room?
Yes.
Okay. We'll be back soon.
You just told me about that.
Jay?
Yes.
Have you heard about anybody taking out petitions? No?
I haven't asked either, so.
Well, you know, I mean, okay, I've asked, and I've had just people. No, we're not, if they wanna listen. But, you know, people have asked me, you know, is anyone else running? And I said, Jay and I are. And I had a long chat with Trevor the other day, and he said, you know, he had talked to you. And, you know, he's just, you know, he'd do a great job. It's just, there's so many things.
I know he's kicking around.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
I know the mayor's pushing him.
Well, yeah, everybody's pushing him. Well, he's getting married next week, so.
I think some people are pushing him more than others, which the
Yeah.
mayor is one.
Well,
Noticed that, did you? Sorry, I missed your call there.
do you need tomorrow evening, get, Lori, do you need a nameplate? Well, no, I might need one.
Oh, yes, I know, I have to
Is your
call
wife
him.
usually get home?
Where'd she tell you to order from?
Typically for her and I, it's there.
I just need a.
Maybe, but we'll figure it out.
I just need maybe a copy of one of those,
Oh,
like on the
gotcha.
printer. I need
Okay.
a copy of what you want.
All right, I'll just, oh, okay, perfect. I'm
Actually,
glad I
you can-
never called then.
If you can scan one of the trustees,
Uh-huh,
and then yours right there,
okay,
I will just tell them that we need this and that
Okay.
font in
all
red.
right.
And if you scan it and email it to me, I can just email it to our contact over there.
Okay,
You don't like the paper one?
I do, but he thought I should have a real one
And you need one for the,
for my
desk
desk
too,
too.
right.
That means he's already thinking.
If you want people to know who I am.
I mean, if you just don't wanna look like the oddball. then-
I don't wanna be the oddball.
That means Terry's thinking that you may be around a little more
That's
than your first 6
good.
months or so, huh?
Or you can just
I
laminate
hope
that.
so. Oh, you're changing? Oh, I have his. I'm gonna scan them. Captain Sacco is gonna get me my very own.
Scan it to me tonight, I'll send it to him tomorrow.
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, not like that, the nagging, annoying hemorrhoid.
That one that just kind of chews at you and.
2 times I did roll call, it wasn't on, but I didn't know. Oh, well.
It's a learning experience. The only thing that I gotta look, so this should be recorded, but Brian said it wasn't, the stream wasn't working, so we might have to play around since you don't have the recording.
And I asked him today too, I probably totally jinxed it. Because I said, do you think there's any reason to do both? He's like, nah.
I hope you took good notes.
Just in the next, I usually do it the next day.
Let me suggest you not do what Nyla did and wait till 3 days before the next meeting.
No.
to do it.
Oh,
Yeah, she
there he
is.
is, look.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You made it
I
good.
have to tell you a funny
Yes.
story.
different story if maybe it was but it was hilarious. He was about a 10-minute pooper.
That's like that commercial, where the guy walks out on the patio and his wife is out there and a couple other people, and he's in his underwear, and he goes, "Oh, I thought it was virtual," and she's like, "No."
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting close to bed making time. Oh, for Saturday. That's what Facebook wants to make you talk on there. They're not allowing parking in the park. The fucking streets are going to be horrendous. Whatever Matt knows about that. I've got Turk that's willing to come in, and Rush will come in from 2:30 to 6, and then he's working overtime for Corey. I would suggest that we don't put any crews in the park. Because if they go down there, they're not getting out of the gap. I can go down there with the mule, and that can serve as our fire protection and inspection for the, how many people are you gonna want around there for fireworks? Well, that's that whole thing's gonna be bad. This goes from the top down. That's gonna be a torch. Keep watching that stack. Someone pumping diesel in. Oh, yeah. Watch that stack. Is he holding his boats or is he? This has got bad idea written all over it. This guy's holding his phone, videotaping it, as he pumps diesel. Start to get flame out of the. And this dude's struggling to hold it down. The fire blowing out of that. Damn. It was all that to start a fire. In that. That's what vessel, yeah. They did it. Seems like the hard way to do it. Pretty cool, huh? Like that hit hard for the yard or something. Or, no, this was, whatever that is. Corey watches a whole bunch of that. Yeah, Jesse just told me about that this week down there, and I'm like, that's funny shit. Some of that stuff you just look at like, that's really bad. Yeah, it's gotta come out. Yeah, that's Jennifer. Where are you gonna pull it? And it's like, you don't wanna be, like, disrespectful. Hmm? I tried to say we had time, but I didn't know. Always. He ain't running again. I talked to Dwayne. He said he's done. I'm sure he will.
Although I heard he might be interested in running for mayor.
But I don't, I mean, there's so.
Mayor's not till next year, or in 2 years.
Is it?
Yeah, mayor's in 2023.
I wonder if Sammy's got another term in it. things stay the same, the more they stay the same.
No, because.
You know what Sable wanted the other day, that he asked me for?
From the,
Yeah.
yeah, because he called today to use it.
It's like, you know, Terry, like, that they did that for you. Right, and if he doesn't, he stays on track. There's. Like, that's why, why do we get all these financial things? I don't understand. Like, it's a, maybe it's a. Yeah, and Ken said he's not, he said he put a petition for me to put signs up, like, we do this all the time, people do it. But, there's supposed to be, I think one guy eventually pulled the petition, I don't know whether he turns it in, but he said, his name's Gingrich. Lives on, Gingrich on Middle Ridge Road, ain't
Yeah,
he?
Middle Ridge almost to, Wood.
Um, yeah, his kid is the kid that got.
Wood Road?
Yeah, his kid's the one that got bit by Baron Medved that, and died. I guess he's a big, very conservative, no tax. He's been crawling up the township's ass, cause I got the heads up from Tim Brown, I'm like, $7 I'll be happy to sit down, I'll spend an hour with him, I'll show him exactly, here's the tax money, here's where it goes.
I was just thinking, like, over there, that corner, that area right there on Middle Ridge, doesn't have
He's
that many.
probably, you've got Yo's on the corner,
Yeah,
then he's probably 2 or 3 parcels from him. There's a sign out front that says Gingrich, Tool and Machine. The house that's way back off the road on the south side. It's got a little farm stand out there.
yeah, oh, that one, that one.
But they were on, like, they're sweating, because I guess he's asking for all kinds of information, but I'm like, I'll give him that spreadsheet. And I'm with him, I don't want to pay more tax either, if you tell me, again, so here it is,
You tell us.
what don't you want to cut? And I just had a conversation, with somebody about health insurance, like a voting person. They're like, that's a lot of money, I said, okay. So you want these guys to go take care of sick people and not provide, because you, yeah, because you can't, like, you can't get workman's comp because you caught meningitis from somebody that you took care of. And the even worse part is, then when you are exposed to it and you don't know, and you just expose your family. It's like, there's a reason why I think that we should have good family coverage, because otherwise, I wouldn't go, you know, like, you're sick, get in the back, I'll drive you. I'm not exposing myself. I think we probably have more justification for it in our business than probably anybody, maybe nursing and
Yeah.
medical field, but, they were like, oh, I never really thought about that. I'm like, right, so that's, you know, when people say something.
Fucking stupid liberal that doesn't look at the big picture.
Well, and that's what I always tell people, anytime you think of something like, we should do this, the very next question you should ask yourself is, and then what? So, we should cut this, okay, so we're gonna cut that, and then what's gonna happen? So, like, now all of a sudden, we can't find people to work anymore anyway.
Right.
And like this guy, that's why, I hope he calls me, I love sitting down and explaining the budget. Okay, no, that's cool, let's cut $1 million out. We'll run one ambulance, and if you're the second person,
Oh, no.
you know.
And somebody, I know a couple of people, asked me, even when I went home for my great nephew, he's just started freshman. And it's, who do you want to be? He's like, oh, I work for the, doing something with the FBI side of stuff. And I said, you know what, you should go to the fire EMS side. And he's like, what do you mean?
17 for the shift on Sunday.
17? And how interested would anybody be in training after 17 calls?
They were done about 4.
Including yourself. Right.
I was done after the first one.
Yeah, I mean, is this son, older son, who's got beachwood, and I think it's only been there 4 years, and he makes like over 80 grand already, and he's like, I heard at work, number for like cat pockets. Oh my gosh, after like only 5 years. It's just amazing.
I thought all of you could go home. Oh.
The gray button.
Take your Juneteenth holiday that way, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yep, all right.
Yep.
You say so.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Yep. We're reconvening back into our regular meeting. Time is 8:07. Mr. Gardner, you want to?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson, board convened and discussed the personnel compensation for the fire chief, and at this time, I make a motion to increase the chief's pay by 3%.
Is there a
Second.
second? Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Effective at the beginning of the next pay
Pay
period.
Right.
I
Yeah,
knew you were
was
gonna
just
ask
gonna
that.
ask you that.
Yeah.
Which is Sunday.
Sunday, that's what I thought it was
Which is
coming up.
Sunday.
Okay, no discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Vest,
Yes.
Mr. Wayman,
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gauntner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Okay, we have no further business. Anybody else have anything? Okay, if not, our next meeting will be August 18th, 2021 at 7 PM and September 15th, 2021 at 7 PM. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nobody argues
Go ahead,
about
Pete.
that.
You can second it.
Pete got it? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Vest? Mr.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Wayman?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gontner?
Yes.
Time is 8:08.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another day. Did I turn this off now?
Was that a conversation with Mr. Stein?
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I got
I knew this was pending, but
Right. I have one. Do you want a copy, Ken? I can make you a copy if you want.
yeah, when you get time, make me one.
All right, I will do
You
that.
saw we were talking, we got a, Stacy's gonna do a resolution for the next meeting because we have to.
You too.
They voted it into,
Ken?
so it's in the.
See you later.
Hey, thank you, Max. Thanks. Yeah, it's been voted in the ORC, so we gotta acknowledge it. Everybody is gonna have, you're not gonna have any choice.
When I was at the training up in Calhart, and they came down Friday, they were calling emergency meetings the next over a week to do that, a lot of places.
Yeah, I think we're okay for this year, but next year, yeah, we think we are, but for next year, we have to add it to all the contracts and everything, because it's been voted into law.